NA1SS, NA1SS, W6SRJ calling.
W6SRJ, NA1SS, region loud and clear.
Terrific. We'll turn you right over to the students right now. So if we can have the first question, please.
Does going into space change your view of everyday life? Over.
That's a good question. I've always appreciated the Earth and everything, but when you see it from space, you learn to appreciate it even more. And I'm just really privileged and honored to be up here. Over.
When did you first plan on becoming an astronaut? Over.
Well, when I was a kid, I used to watch the Apollo missions on film, and so that kind of got me, thinking I wanted to be an astronaut, but never thought it would happen until I was a school teacher and saw that NASA was looking for astronauts, so then I applied. Over.
What was your greatest challenge in becoming an astronaut? Over.
Well, I think if you ask any of us, the hardest part is really getting accepted. I know it's maybe a weak answer, but you can do all the right things. Of course, you need to have the right education and some of the skills that they want, but it's still just very, very difficult to get accepted. So really, getting through the application process was probably the most difficult. Over.
How emotionally and physically intensive was your training? Over.
I think it's both emotionally and physically intensive. We spent 18 months just to become astronaut candidates and be ready for a flight assignment, and then I was training for 2.5 years for this flight. So it's tiring. You're traveling all around the world, and you're studying every day. So it wears you out pretty good. Over.
How has being an astronaut affected your life? Over.
Well, the cool thing is I'm up here in space now, so that's something I wouldn't have had an opportunity to do if I hadn't become an astronaut. But other than that, I'm just same old Joe living my life and going to work every day. Over.
Do you think there are gender personality differences that might affect astronauts' decisions on a mission? Over.
That's a very interesting question, and I would say that there probably is. But not only gender, I think if you look at maybe racial differences, ethnic backgrounds, all of that affects how we make decisions in life. And that's why, we work as a team both up here on the station and also with the group on ground so that we have these different views to help us make smart decisions. Over.
Who or what inspired you to be an astronaut? Over.
I thank my grandparents and my parents for kind of sparking the imagination of coming into space. But I guess it was the first group of astronauts that went to the moon. It was pretty awesome, and it looked like something I would dream to do someday. Over.
What is most personally rewarding about you being an astronaut? Over.
Wow, it's all very rewarding. And being up here, though, I think it's just being able to be a small part of a team and being able to take part in some of the science that's going on. It's really rewarding when you see the results of the work that you do. Over.
Do you have any input on planning mission objectives? Over.
Well, we're not super involved in coming up with the objectives, but when it comes time to planning, they definitely ask our opinion. Since we're up here, we have an insight that the people on the ground might not have. And again, and I hate to keep saying it, but it's really a team effort. And so they'll kind of let us know what they think they want to do, and we'll give them input, and they make modifications as necessary. Over.
How have you dealt with your toughest challenge of weightlessness? Over.
Yeah, working in weightlessness is it's difficult, and it's easy to lose things. And so what I've had to do is really stay focused all day long. As long as I'm working, you really need to stay focused, and that's what really tires you out. Over.
What is the most serious physical problem that living in space poses? Over.
Well, I think that the two big ones are, muscle atrophy, your muscles getting weaker, and bone loss. But again, we're also looking at some issues with vision. I know my eyesight has changed since I've been here, but I'm a little bit older. So you look at the bones, the muscle, and I think this vision is going to be an issue, as well as the radiation that we might have if we're going further. Over.
What is the most practical scholastic route to becoming an astronaut? Over.
Well, I wish I had an easy answer for you. You know, we have a wide variety of people that have become astronauts. My background's in geology. You know, we have physicists, engineers, we have doctors. So really, I would say, you know, anything, of course, in the sciences or mathematics is required, engineering. But other than that, just pick something you really like to do. Over.
What was running through your mind when you first launched into space? Over.
I was thinking, what the heck am I doing? No, it was pretty cool, and you know, my first launch was on a shuttle a couple of years ago, and I remember looking at my crewmate Swanee sitting next to me, and we were just smiling, the thumbs up. It was just kind of unbelievable that here I was sitting on a shuttle getting ready to go into space. Over.
When you look at Earth from space, what do you think or feel about?
Well, that's an interesting question. It's so cool when you look at the Earth from up here that, you know, depending, you know, sometimes the music's on and I'm not thinking about anything. Other times I'm thinking about how fragile it is. So really it depends on the mood. And I bet you, you know, when you see a beautiful sight on Earth, it's probably a very similar feeling. Over.
Have unexpected situations during your mission taught you new lessons? Over.
Well, we always have unexpected situations, and yeah, they do teach you lessons. You know, I've learned that, again, to be focused is the number one thing you can do up here, because things are going to happen that you're not expecting, and you need to be ready to handle them, and you also need to be flexible. Over.
How can a girl going into aerospace avoid some pitfalls you have had? Over.
Well, I think, you know, a girl, a boy, whoever is going into aerospace, you know, it's a tough field, and it does take a lot of work. And so, I would say, you know, only do it if you really love it, because, you know, you never know where you're going to go. So if you enjoy it and you work hard, I think you're gonna have smooth sailing. Over.
What examples of advanced technology have helped you live and work in space? Over.
Well, pretty much everything we have up here is, well, some things are old, but a lot of what we need to live every day is the advanced technology. You know, we recycle all of our air, so we do a lot, you know, solar energy, dealing with, you know, small equipment. So this place is just full of advanced technology. Over.
What is the most difficult part of returning to Earth? Over.
For me, it's kind of that feeling in your head of, you know, maybe almost like being seasick, and then getting muscle strength back. Over.
What have you learned from the typologia experiment? Over.
You know, you stumped me on that one. I didn't know what it was, and I found out it's a Russian experiment, so now I have a homework assignment to figure out more about it, and hopefully I can get you an answer the next time we talk. Over.
Has Robonaut 2 been helpful? Over.
Well, right now, Robonaut 2's in the kind of the practice phase, so he hasn't done anything practical for us yet, but I think we're learning a lot from watching him work. Over.
Are tortillas useful for long-duration flights? Over.
Tortillas are awesome, and actually I had some last night with my chicken. They're just, they're compact, they don't make a mess, and they taste good. Over.
Do you use ham radio for personal contacts? Over.
You know, I haven't done too many yet, because this radio is on the Russian segment, but it's something I hope I can do more as my mission goes on. It's a neat way to communicate with people all over the world. Over.
Susie, do you have any standby questions?
How have you dealt with being away from your family? Over.
Good question. You know, we're away from our family a lot when we train. Probably half of my time I was spent out of the country, but we're pretty lucky up here. We do have email. I do a video conference with my folks out in California every week. There's a telephone, so there's a lot we can do to stay in touch with our family. Over.
Bill, take it over, please.
Yeah, we're starting to lose it. So everybody say thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and we're done. NA1SS, W6SRJ, great contact. Thank you very much. Good flight.
Great contact. Thank you, Bill. Ladies and gentlemen, we have shared a moment of history. Amateur radio station W6SRJ in California made a successful radio contact with astronaut Joe Acaba, KE5DAR, aboard the International Space Station.